What type of display is, if you someone you can see it?
It looks like a Japanese.
Yeah, it looks like a Japanese.
Exactly. 84.
Basically, chipping varnish is basically used for some AAV models because you can scratch heavy, a large surface on the base, some rusty or steel metal shape. But basically, if you know some photos of Japanese aircrafts, they usually have the whole surface is scratched back to the aluminum surface. I will show on this aircraft model different approaches. So basically, this one, put it directly to the brush. This is classic Fenda Hansa 501. This is 0.2 millimeter nozzle. This is for some. And I don't want to fill all the gaps, so make only splatters and let it dry. Then you can continue. When it's done, so this is the chipping. When it dries, it's okay. But with the disadvantage of this approach is that if you apply the next layer of the paint over the surface, then you probably have a problem to apply some masking or some decals or so, because if you have apply mask over the surface with apply. This is the masko, so I want to show you another technique what you can use for example, for cylinder cones or other steps. This is simply fluid which dilute on the surface, and you can then remove it with some sponge or anything. But it dries, it creates some, this is simply liquid masking. And then you can use a sponge. And also the cylinder cone, the engine is silver painted, so you can apply some masking liquid on the surface. And where it is now green, then it will be scratched. So you can see closer if you want. So it looks, no, it is not dry, but never mind. We don't have too much time for letting dry it. So basically, I want to paint this model. And also, if you apply some varnish, it will be also darker. For example, they are the same paint, and one wing is painted with a clear varnish, and one is painted with a matte varnish. But the base paint is the same, so you can see that the shade, the final shade is quite different. But the base color, this is a little bit pre-diluted because I usually, when it has like only half of a bottle, I simply pour the thinner inside, and I have a pre-diluted paint. Okay, you can use it for a car model, but then it will be almost like the final result. And if you apply some clear varnish, then it will be black. But the major advantage to have more airbrushes is one airbrush for silver paints, because you will never clean silver particles from airbrush. And primarily, if you are making like car models, then it is a nightmare. Because if you have a spray some engine sections or so, you have a lot of metallic parts. When you spray the body parts, it's like on the flag. And when you want to spray clear varnish, and you need to apply like 4 or 5 layers of varnish. And if you spray it before some silver parts, and you apply the varnish, then you probably have a metallized finish on the car model. So, for example, I use for classic acrylic paints isopropyl alcohol, which is quite interesting stuff. I also use it for my 3D printing models, basically for cleaning resin. So basically, I simply spray the whole surface. You can create some pre-shading or so. Yeah, I forgot to say. I applied here on this wing silver paint, which is lacquer based, so very resilient. But this layer is very smooth. So if you make some scratches, then you basically can create scratches down to the plastic. So I highly recommend to protect this silver paints with a simple super clear free, which is a clear varnish, also lacquer based. And this way you can create quite resilient and protect the base layer. I also stopped using pre-shading because I think the post-shading is much better. Make some post-shading with some darker green. It will be probably not be perfectly correct. So
Real color?
yeah, it's a real color.
Also works on real color.
Basically, they have a lot of shades, perfect shades, but it's a good start to making shading. So you start with paint direct shade, then you can simply use a little bit of lighter, and then, for example, use it for some darker shading or something. So now I simply apply some water on the surface and make some easy sketches. You can see here. You can go closer or try it also. I use this technique many times. If you want continue with work with some oil painting and making some weathering with oil paints, like I usually do, then let it dry. When I'm satisfied with the result, applied again layer of lacquer thinner. So, for example, the clear one is quite good. And when I used mascol, now I can simply again remove it. So simply with a finger, I can remove some this fluid. So very easily. And also the result is nice because I didn't use chipping varnish, so the result is quite stable. And then you can apply some decals or masking. It's not so fragile as a chipping varnish. I told about that I applied lacquer varnish, so it's very resilient. And then I applied lacquer paint, so we can use also this advantage and use simply chipping with a toothpick. I used this effect or technique on Fokewood. So basically, we can use a toothpick and this way remove the top layer. I also, if you saw the video with a B29, I use it for red cylinder cones, and it's quite interesting effect. Quite easy. You have a perfect control over the final result. So this effect is quite simple. So you can try it also with a toothpick and try making some sketches. Also, we can try to remove some masking on the cylinder cone, near to the engine. So, it's a better with water, because then the layer is much more softer. I probably is my favorite technique, and I will use it for more other aircrafts. Because I learned it from my fellow. You basically do not need like 3,000 grit or 5,000 grit. This one is 2,000. This one is, for example, 1,050, 500, 1,500. And for some heavy sketches, you can use even 500. But basically, for this small aircraft, it's good 2,000 because you can have more control there. So basically, I'm not very fan of some weathering products, because you basically can create or mix everything at home for a few dollars. So therefore, weathering companies like AKA or do not like me too much.